Genesis, the origin, an event that molds something into existence. What tournament series could be more fitting to serve as the breakout performance for an up-and-coming Zero Suit Samus player from New England? A run that put a new style, a more defensive, bait-and-punish style of Zero Suit on the map, all culminated in his first top 8 at a Super Major. Mars made his breakout performance at Genesis 3, making it into the top 8. Afterwards, he was able to ride his momentum into Pound 2016, his very next tournament, where he managed to place 3rd. While he was never able to break into the top 10 of the Smash 4 all-time Panda Global rankings, or even claim the title of the best Zero Suit in the world, that being held by Nairo, he was able to beat players like Zero at the Big House 7 for 2nd place.
He's definitely looking for the DI mix-up on those grabs.
That's it!
My God!
That's it!
He's done it! He has done it, and everyone's popping up as they just...
Taking a set off of the best Smash 4 player of all time is impressive, but Mars was just getting started. He was ready to make his mark on the next game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. He would carry over his fast, aggressive, and flashy playstyle from Smash 4 and tear through the first few tournaments of the new game, after finding his footing with ZSS. With Nairo dropping the character to a secondary, Mars was able to take over her spotlight. He took 3rd place at Pound 2019, being knocked out of winner's side by Samsora before beating him in the runback 3-2, and also eliminating Dabuz. He ultimately ended up losing to Myron in one of Mars' least favorite matchups, Olimar, who he had to fight twice at Pound. He went on to make grand finals at Get On My Level 2019, being double eliminated by Tweak, a contender for the best player in the world, but picking up a win on MKLeo, the best player in Smash 4 after Zero's retirement, and the only other player in contention with Tweak. Gommel would set the scene for Mars in the early Ultimate meta, able to go toe-to-toe with the best, take sets off of MKLeo, and take Tweak to Game 5, always getting a taste of the top but being just out of reach of that win. His aggressive, non-stop, and flashy playstyle let him run over his opponents. His propensity to dive kick off the stage just to ensure he took the stock, and his devastating reads at the ledge secured kills and captivated spectators. In a game defined by defensive play, and a meta dominated by players who preferred to keep their own stocks rather than take them, Mars forged his own path, creating an identity all his own that excited players and viewers to watch him at every tournament. They would not be disappointed either, as Mars made it into the top 4 at every major from Pound in April to July of 2019. That month, Mars would fly to Mexico for the biggest tournament the country had ever hosted, and one that MKLeo had won every single time he attended, 3 years in a row. After not attending Smash Factor 7, MKLeo was looking to take back his crown. Mars had other ideas.
MKLeo needs to do this right now while Arsen's stopped, but Arsen's about to spin. Go Sage, going in, Sage going in. Go down! Oh my God!
Yes, dude, man, what the? ¿Qué pedo? No, no.
Oh my gosh!
No.
He had to do it though.
He blazed through his first major victory, defeating Europe's best player, Gluttony, and Mexico's crown jewel, MKLeo, double eliminating him on his home soil. Before this tournament, their set count offline was 4-4, and now it was swung to 6-4 in Mars' favor. Having a winning record on the best player in the world skyrocketed Mars' ranking in the first season of Smash Ultimate's PGR, placing him behind only Tweak and MKLeo. His top 4 streak would be ended at EVO 2019, his very next event, and one that cemented MKLeo as the best player in the world. Mars was still able to pick up a win on Nairo before being eliminated by Light, a Fox player who was also from New England. Mars couldn't be stopped for long though, as he placed 4th at Super Smash Con, only losing to MKLeo and Tweak. He kept up his consistency, rarely dropping sets to players who weren't ranked top 10 in the world, and making top 8s at every tournament except the Big House 9, where he would lose to Tweak once again, and then finally Dabuz. Tweak would prove to be a bracket demon for Mars, beating him in every set that they have played in tournament to this point. Mars was a player that relied heavily on momentum, so when he was knocked out of the winner's bracket of any tournament, he he would only pick up 1 or maybe 2 wins before being knocked out for good. Even his Smash Factor win was done from the winner's side, without dropping a set. So while Mars could still get a good win in the loser's side, his flame would burn out before long. After missing top 8 at the Big House 9, losing 2 sets in a row, his next major run was sent into dire straits, as he lost to Larry Lurr in just his second set of the tournament. But this was Clash of the Pandas, and after all, Mars was a member of Panda Global, so he kept going. Maybe Mars was determined to not miss another top 8? Maybe it was because none of the other Pandas has clashed yet, but he changed the narrative. He went on an 8-set win streak with many notable wins, like Snake Extraordinaire MVD, the Japanese Mega Man player who beat MKLeo at EVO, Kameme, the best Mario in the world, Dark Wizzy, and finally, he proved his Panda prowess over Cosmos, before finally arriving in Grand Finals. Waiting for him was T, the best Pac-Man player in the world. And while he managed to reset the bracket, he ended up leaving with 2nd place. This run proved Mars had what it takes. Winning 8 sets in a row made players fear him, regardless of what side of bracket he was on. He was always a threat. He still did his best work in the winner's side, taking DreamHack Atlanta over Mutace, Light, Dark Wizzy, and the current best player in the US, Samsora.
Right here. Gets back to the lead. Oh my
gone.
God! Yeah, he's dead. Oh my
gone.
goodness! And the pop off, well deserved.
I don't know.
Twice.
Like what he's gonna do here? The standard get up the back air. It's gonna be enough in Mars. From behind takes DreamHack. Atlanta. Oh my God, he's so good.
With these placements, Mars managed to place 5th on the Fall 2019 Ultimate PGR, behind only Nairo, Tweak, Samsora, and MKLeo, with unanimous agreement that Leo was the best player in the world. After all, he was the only one to have won 2 or more S-tier tournaments and was guaranteed to make at least Grand Finals, his lowest placement this season being 2nd. Samsora had just won Shine 2019 over Leo, and Tweak was still yet to lose a set against Mars. In an entire year of competition, over 6 sets and 3 characters played by each person. This is the state of competitive Ultimate at the top level going into 2020. Let's Make Big Moves was the first major of the year, and Mars got 5th, but this was just the calm before the storm. Genesis 7 was coming up, and was slated to be the largest tournament of 2020, and everyone would be there. MKLeo was the clear favorite to win the tournament. MKLeo won. Every single Genesis he had ever attended, his name becoming synonymous with the tournament over 2 games. Heralded as Mr. Genesis, he would be everyone's target.
Oh, okay. You know, just a frame off right there.
I don't know if there's enough Let's Go Boy chants in the world right now that can save this man.
Not at all.
Don't think it's going to be the guys. If you doubted the fact that this boy could repeat, I hope you have an alphabet soup for dinner because it's time to eat your words. MKLeo, the 3-time Genesis champion.
Let's go, man.
Leo was not the only one with something to prove, as Tweak had the opposite track record with Genesis, always falling short of top 8 at the tournament, despite being one of the best players in the world. He would be chasing top 8 for the first time, and of course, seeking to win it all, and reclaim his seat as the best player in the United States over Samsora. Nairo wanted to continue his momentum he had from winning Let's Make Big Moves in January, and continue his ascendance up the Smash Ultimate rankings. Samsora wanted to cement his place as the world's number 2 player, and hopefully take aim at Leo himself for that final spot on the podium, repeating his win at Shine 2019 over Leo. But most importantly, Mars hadn't made a Genesis top 8 since his first one, and the series had a special place in his heart as his breakout performance. He wanted to show everyone that Genesis was his tournament, just as much as it was Leo's. The stage was set, and the cards were dealt. Mars is in a good position starting in Saturday's bracket. He is seated on the other side of the tournament from threats like Tweak and Leo, and his top 64 matchups are looking favorable. He could get warmed up for Sunday's championship matches with 2 Game & Watch players in his top 64 path. The first one, Bolby, Mars swept cleanly. It was a good matchup, and Mars was the best Zero Suit in the world. After sweeping Prodigy, now known as Kurama, and one of the best Marios, Mars makes it to his top 8 qualifier against Meister. As mentioned earlier, this is a good matchup for ZSS. There are a few things he needs to watch out for though. Mars needs to be careful with his pressure on shield because of Game & Watch's frame 3 up special that can send Mars into disadvantage. He also needs to be careful with his ladder combos because Game & Watch's down air is very strong and can send Mars even farther into disadvantage since he's already near the top of the screen. Playing with these concepts in mind, Mars wins Game 1 handedly, using his poking tools like Zair and Plasma Whip to secure openings, percenting kills. In Game 2, Mars wanted to show the audience that he didn't need a campy playstyle to beat Meister though, and instead, he went in to challenge Game & Watch's down air with his own up air. He spaces it perfectly, and Mars kills Meister for doing what he thought was a safe landing. In Game 3, Meister punishes Mars for getting aggressive on his shield, hitting him with up special and catching Mars jumping in with up smashes. He finishes the game off with an edge guard, sniping Mars's jump and leaving him with no resources, before clipping him with one last back air.
Wanted to end it, and he got it to work out, actually using the multi-hit of back air to get that clean KO. Good stuff by Meister on that one, taking that game.
And there's a lot of people on the side.
Game 4 was looking good for Mars, but then an unfortunate self-destruct, and the match was even again. Both players rack up percent, and once again, it's anyone's game, and they're both one hit from death. Throwing out disjointed kill moves, Mars moves in on Meister, predicts a panicked roll, but Meister sees this opportunity, game, and brings the set to Game 5. Mars takes a minute to collect himself. He knows how to win, he just needs to stick to his plan. The game starts, and he does it to a T, not overextending, and he plays patiently, punishing Meister and ending the set with a 2 stock.
Crowd was shocked by that one.
Okay, side B, and there it goes again. It's crazy because he kept going for the side B attempt at a KO, and he actually got it to work again. Good stuff from Mars.
Saturday was over for Mars, his place solidified in top 8, but Championship Sunday would be even harder. The first time he dropped a game, and it was the closest he came to being dropped into the loser's bracket. A stroke of good luck before he fell asleep though, and Light upset Tweak, continuing Tweak's Genesis curse. Sunday opened up with MK Leo vs Samsora and Mars vs Esam in winners semis, while Dark Wizzy vs Light and Gluttony vs Meister battled for their Genesis runs in the losers quarters. Mars and Esam's set count was 5-1 in Mars's favor, but at DreamHack Montreal, the last time they played, Esam took a set before losing the tournament in Grand Finals. Mars would not be stopped. Not today. He swiftly beat Esam 3-0, slowly warming up for what he thought would be a meeting with Leo in winners finals. But Samsora managed a Game 5 upset over Leo, and instead he would be waiting for Mars in winners finals. While making for a better bracket for Mars, a Genesis victory without a win over the reigning champion would feel hollow. All he could do was beat Samsora in winners finals and hope that Leo would make it to him in grands. The name of the game against Samsora would be the pressure offstage. With flip kick and excellent air mobility against Peach's lack of quick hitboxes, Mars could push Samsora off stage and then suffocate him. Peach's power comes from her crazy combo game, but she has to get up close to her opponent, just like Game & Watch. Zersuit has the tools, and Mars already opened the box against Meister. The first game starts the set off well, going for any hit he can to keep Peach off stage, but not overcommitting for a kill, until he finds a reverse boost kick to catch Samsora drifting in on his parasol. Samsora catches him getting off the ledge with a side B and evens up the stocks. Mars comes down swinging and does not let his foot off the gas for a second, racking up percent before knocking Samsora off stage and finishing the stock with another clean edge guard.
With the flip kick being invincible for the first half, it'd be a little rough for most people trying to stop it. Up smash. Oh, great DI. Yeah, seriously. Would not be able to live another one of those or that. The F air.
Mars finds one last opening, knocks Samsora off stage, and he wins. No need for an edge guard as Peach just drifts down, past the ledge, and dies. An anticlimactic ending for the first game, but a win is a win, and Mars is up 1-0. Samsora takes the next game to Town and City. Since Peach wants to start long combos that can go from one side of the stage to the other, the lack of platforms during the transformation helps her out a lot, and limits the opponent's options. With the high ceiling, Samsora also can survive boost kick at higher percents. While the game goes to last hit, Mars closes it out with a back air, bringing the set to match point. Samsora brings the set back to Pokemon Stadium, and he needs to figure something out or else it's going to be 3-0. He starts the game and puts Mars into disadvantage, keeping him from finding the ground before taking the first stock, getting his lead for the very first time in the entire set. Samsora does the same thing on his second life, and while Mars does find the kill to even up the game momentarily, Samsora swings right back with an up smash, going up a full stock. Mars brings the game back to last stock on both players, and once again it goes to the last hit. But Samsora finds the forward air trait to send Mars across the stage, straight into the blast zone, and straight into game 4.
Way inch by inch back into that game, and Samsora certainly had to be sweating off that.
Samsora opens up the fourth game with a slight lead, then knocks Mars off the stage and looks for an edge guard with Toad. Since Boost Kick has a hitbox going up, it should catch Mars, but he was ready. Still needing to get back to the stage using Boost Kick, he turns it around to face to the right, hitting Samsora from the left, just as Samsora hoped. But this quick thinking from Mars made the Toad attack to the left, missing Zero Suit as she made it back to the stage, leading to Samsora's demise in the process, as he went too low to recover. Mars only gets 40% with his newfound lead before losing his stock. Samsora hits a quick combo to even it up, before taking the stock first. As seems to be tradition in the set at this point, Mars comes down, uses Plasma Whip to keep Samsora on the ledge, before knocking him out with a back air to catch his getup. Mars puts together a string that carries Peach to the other side of the stage, and tries to end it with a nair into flip kick spike combo. But he misses the spike hitbox that would have ended the game in the set right there. He then paralyzes Samsora as he returns to stage, before missing another flip kick. Samsora makes it back to the center stage, but it's too little too late. Mars lands a forward air, then calls out Samsora's jump with a Zair into back air to seal the stock, the game, and his place in Grand Finals.
The game finds the back air and finds the game. We'll be moving on to Grand Finals.
Very much so deserved. Again, I said, you know, a combination of being able to act out of those either out of Zair or Bears, or excuse me, Zair or Nair into Bear is going to be something you're going to look for, especially around 85-90% Mars just being so efficient when it comes to that option. And much like we saw at DreamHack Atlanta, Mars yet again able to go over Samsora.
Samsora meets the shark he set loose on the loser's bracket, MK Leo. And this time, Leo was out for blood.
Now he is just in losers, man, just running into a brick wall. Shades of the last year. Able to defeat him in winners, but the loser side of things, a different tale. Dominance incarnate for MK Leo.
He takes his revenge in 3 games and makes it into the Grand Finals, loser's side. Loser's bracket MK Leo was a well-known threat, winning Genesis 6, EVO 2019, and Super Smash Con 2019, the 3 biggest tournaments in Smash Ultimate history, all from the loser's side. These were the most stacked events the game had seen, and Leo had to take out players like Light, DeBuzz, Samsora, Void, Nairo, Mars, Meister, Zachary, Gluttony, and Tweak. Let's take a look at this last one, because his brilliant 9-set run at EVO is what made Leo look unstoppable. Ignoring the part where he beat 4 of the game's 10 best players to even make it to Grand Finals, this set against Tweak would go down in history. This set gave Leo a legend. Tweak takes the first 2 games, and the third is close, both players on their last stock, but Leo wins at low percent. He's down 2-1 on the biggest stage in all of fighting games. He loses his first stock, both players at high percent, but then he loses his second, only able to land a single back air against Tweak's suffocating pressure. Leo lands a drag down up air into an up smash, and with a moment to catch his breath, he comes alive.
Now 74% and poor little Squirtle cannot handle too much more, neither can Ivysaur. Off the right side, and it's an even game, 49% only on MK Leo.
Brutal hit by MK Leo, calling out the Pokemon Switch.
Leo pulls the game back from the brink, from a 2-stock deficit, and manages to even up the stock count. Tweak goes for a down air to spike Leo, but he survives. Then Tweak lands a back air, but it wasn't the strong hit, and Leo survives. Tweak forward throws Leo into the blast zone, but he is just out of kill percent, and Leo survives. Call it plot armor, call it scripted, but Leo just refused to lose, and smelling blood in the water, he calls out Tweak's defensive roll into the center of the stage, and takes his last stock, completing the reverse 3-stock, completing the reverse sweep in the next game, and finishing EVO by winning 6 games straight.
MK Leo defeats Tweak to be your 2019 EVO champion. You can dread it, you can run from it, but in the end, MK Leo will arrive in Grand Finals.
This would be dubbed Game 4 Leo, encapsulating his amazing clutch factor when down 2-0. So now we go back to Genesis 7. In one seat we have Mars, the Momentum Master, and sitting across from him we have MK Leo, the Clutch King. The best in the world. At the tournament, he has never lost. The characters are locked in, and the stage is picked, Pokemon Stadium. Mars has the opportunity to get his fulfilling Genesis win now that he's against Leo, and he does not let an opportunity like that get away. Within 20 seconds, Mars takes Leo's first stock with a flip kick spike. He loses his own first stock, but remains unshaken. He drops down from the Angel platform, hits Leo with an up air from below, then, reminiscent of the ladder combos of Smash 4, shepherds him to the top blast zone in 10 seconds of coming back. Mars can't keep a lead though, and a minute later, the game is even once more. With both players landing stray hits and short combos, Leo finds what looks to be a back air to kill Mars off the left side, but it's not enough. Arsene comes out, and one more back air will end Mars' stock. He plays just outside of that back air range, and with Leo standing in front of him, he swings out his Plasma Whip and takes game 1.
On this exchange, a sigh of relief for Mars as he clutches out that opening game at Grand Finals.
Game 1 was decided by explosivity. The next would be decided by creativity.
Looks cool. Anyway, Mars, MK Leo, first game going to Mars, very clutch game, but I mean, just, they are literally scrapping right now.
Yeah.
Leo sits in the driver's seat for the first stock of Game 2, but with one opening, Mars pushes him off stage and looks for a kill. He isn't in a position to spike with flip kick or hit Leo towards the blast zone with a back air. So, he down airs, diving towards Leo with a spike that erases his lead, and while Mars dies as well, it is more than favorable to even the stocks and percents, as well as add a little more style to his kill. Unfortunately for him, the pace of the match slows down once again as Leo regains control. He slowly whittles Mars down before finding a forward smash to take the stock. With little answer yet from Mars, Leo continues the pressure. Mars finally finds his footing and baits out a roll from Leo, paralyzing him. Always looking for the kill, Mars tries to turn around and boost kick from the other side to send Leo to the closer blast zone, but this extra time allows Leo to break free. Perhaps feeling owed the kill, Mars throws out another boost kick, eating an up smash on the platform, which almost ends the game. Then he throws out another, eating a down smash this time from Leo, and being sent off the stage. Learning from these mistakes, and taking his new opportunity from not losing the stock to either smash attack, Mars lays in wait in the corner, sees an opening, and a double up air will take the stock. Mars essentially can't get hit for this entire last stock of Leo's, and opens him up with a string that brings him to 60%. This percent, unfortunately, brings out Arsene. Now, any move Leo throws out is a deadly one. Mars uses every movement option he has, crawling on the ground to bait out projectiles, flip kicking around them, and shielding deadly back airs. He brings it to an even game, Spacing himself just outside of Leo's burst range, Mars gets him off the stage, blocks a projectile, and then threatens a kill with Plasma Whip before flipping around Leo's back air and sending him straight down and out of the second game.
Pose! Did you see the pose? Just coming to life!
Mars always looked for an opportunity to take a stock when he could. Instead of playing it safe, he found more and put himself one game away from a Genesis title. A chill falls over the crowd. Memories of the reverse sweeps from EVO and SmashCon fill people's minds. What better time for Game 4 Leo to show up than to make a Genesis 4P come to life? After a few opening blows, it looks like Mars' aggression is finally gonna lose him a stock, as he goes deep off stage and gets his jump clipped by Leo's side special. But if Mars was getting punished for having the aggression at 10, why not turn it up to 11? He realizes instantly that he can't make it back to stage, and with no resources left, he looks to take Leo's stock. He boost kicks to the right and rips a trade from the jaws of certain failure. Both players die at the same time, and these few seconds, while both players are invincible, speak volumes about their mental states right now. Mars drops from the platform instantly, ready to scrap. Leo instead waits, slowing down the pace, taking his breath, and getting a slight edge by stalling out Mars' intangibility before activating his own. Staying true to his own style, Mars hits Leo with a combo ending with a nair flip kick, barely missing the spike, and walks away with 70% instead of a stock. A boost kick from center stage doesn't end it either, but Mars pushes him further away and he can't recover.
Say it, but a bit of defeat already written all over his face and just giving up that sock. Let me find out.
Mars then whiffs a grab on the platform above Leo, and that's all he needs. With the percents reaching higher and higher, the cool, calm, and collected playstyle of Leo finally overcomes Mars. Mars didn't read the script. He burns his way back to the stage, weaving through a hail of bullets meant to suffocate his recovery, but when the cards are on the table, Mars goes all in.
No 4P just defeat. Mars is going to take Genesis 7.
The dawning of a new king is upon us. The 4-peat denied.
Mars wins Genesis 7, denying MK Leo's 4P, claiming the crown and the Genesis title, being the second person in Smash Ultimate to hold it. On this day, Mars is the best player in the world. Less than 2 months later, events were shut down, and all tournaments went online. And while some players jumped at the opportunity to compete from their own home, a character as precise as Zero Suit could not be piloted properly in such conditions. Furthermore, Mars was a player who practiced and played the most at tournaments. Without playing in person with other top players, Mars turned to streaming and leaning into content creation. Then, the final nail in the coffin was patch 11.0, making Zero Suit's nair and boost kicks slower, greatly reducing her safety while pressuring other characters' shields, and also making her own out-of-shield presence much less effective, as one of her best kill moves was made slower. Not only did Zero Suit get nerfed, but a new top tier was released, Pyra and Mithra, who did very well against her. Could Mars recover from those nerfs and setbacks? The first tournament back would be Smash Ultimate Summit 3, where the Smash community got to see what the top players had spent the last year and a half working on. Tweak now played Diddy Kong, who can't be pinned down by Zero Suit Samus, and Leo is playing Pyra and Mithra. At his first major back, Mars placed 4th, only losing to those two players. The rest of his 2021 performances ranged from a 33rd at Riptide to a 3rd place at Low Tide City. 2022 started off well with Genesis 8, where Mars made top 8, losing to Spargo and Myron. The king would then come back for his kingdom, and Leo would win the whole tournament, claiming his 4th Genesis title. Mars struggled to find his footing in the post-quarantine meta, but in the middle of 2022, he would win Lost Tech City, his first major since the lockdown, over players like Esam, Zomba, Lima, Meister, and the god of Melee, Hungrybox. Unfortunately, with a combination of sparser attendance and the ascension of new players and characters, he wouldn't top 8 another major in 2022. A new year meant another Genesis. Mars was seeded 24th, far from his heights that he had reached in the previous years, but everyone knew that he could make a run. As the only other Genesis champion besides MKLeo, no one was counting him out. However, when he got upset before top 64 by Moxie, things were looking grim. Mars couldn't let his Genesis run end so prematurely. He tore through top talent from across the world. H4 was first, then he beat Naito Sharp, another New England player, before taking down Mexico's best Rob, MK Big Boss. He would then set his sights on some of Europe's top talent, Leon, and then Zero Suit's armored up counterpart, Siski. This is where his run looked like it would end. His next opponent was Dabuz, whom he had only taken one game off of in tournament over their 4 sets since the lockdown ended. Mars would have to pull out all the stops if he wanted to continue his run and defeat his demon. After hitting one of the most electrifying clips of the weekend against Dabuz, Mars would run out of steam in a Game 5 set against Gluttony, the king of Europe. Mars would end his Genesis 9 run at 9th. MKLeo would go on to win the entire tournament, again, adding the 5th trophy to his collection. Mars is still the only other player to win a Genesis in Smash Ultimate. He hasn't missed a top 8 since Genesis this year. He got 7th at Level Up Expo and 3rd place at KawaiiCon, losing to Tweak at both events. His crowning achievement has to be his Super Smash Con 2023 7th place. This run was insane. Super Smash Con 2023 was the 3rd biggest event of Smash Ultimate ever, and he outplaced top 10 players like Shuton, Riddles, Light, Tweak, Sonics, and even Spargo. These placements are all proof that Mars can still compete when he brings his A game. But there will always be the question, what could have been? What if Zero Suit didn't get nerfed in patch 11.0? What if there wasn't a lockdown? Could Mars have become the best player in the world after his Genesis 7 win? While all of these are fun hypotheticals to think about, there is one truth. On that day, January 26, 2020, Mars was the best player in the world. If you like this video, please consider subscribing if you want to hear about more esports stories. If there's a story that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments.